Hi, Brandy. How you doing? So I see we've got our three logos up. Good job. So I'm looking at the logos here, and I'm seeing that there's a couple of things going on, and the main thing in the first two logos is the fact that you're using raster graphics in these, and that's pixel-based image. So these aren't will not be scalable, as we know what happens to images when they are scaled beyond their resolution capacity or capabilities. So that's the main reason we don't design logos in using Photoshop or using bitmap or raster graphics. That's why it's always advisable to design your logo in Illustrator using vector graphics. So I would say these two are out for that reason. And it's okay because you're adding some meaning here. Really, you're adding this meaning of this image. You're adding this image to your branding, which is kind of, it kind of doesn't, it backfires in a way, because by tying this image to your branding, if you show your branding without that image, it might not be recognized as such. So that's a really risky thing to do, and I advise not associating an image with your brand. That would leave us with this as your most successful of these three pieces. I think it is. One of the things I would recommend here is, I think this would be interesting if you were to do Brandy McGee on that arch type on a curve, and then let's get rid of the camera lens and just use design. And design sounds better than designs. I would just use design. So it would just go Brandy McGee design. I think that might be interesting. What would be even more interesting if you were to slip the word graphic right up there, so you have Brandy McGee graphic design. And I think that would be a really cool way to go. And then my only other suggestion is that watch your kerning here, okay? When you type this out and fit it on a path, you want to make sure these letters aren't touching each other. This is why I like to ask you guys to submit PDFs with your submission, because that way we can zoom in and zoom out. And by zooming out, we kind of replicate or duplicate the feeling of being further away from the piece. So by changing your distance, you can see how the logo behaves at different focal lengths. And that's really important, because you'll need it to be visible both in business cards and, something bigger. Boy, I'd like my logo on a billboard. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how you design a logo, so that it can be seen from a distance as well as up close, meaning that anything from like a business card on a table that's in front of you, the logo on that business card should be specifically clear. So with this really tight letting here, this really tight kerning, I don't think it is. So watch your kerning, open up the space between those letters so that we can see what it says, okay? And I think Brandy McGee would ring a lot nicer than B McGee, although that does have a ring to it. But Brandy McGee design without the aperture, without the lens, and then watch your your kerning on this as well. Look at your letters are touching, so it's really difficult to read, and it will be if you try to look at that at any smaller. So open up your kerning. That's my main thing. Make sure you have this distressed look on all the letters too. Okay, and then your call whether you want to slip the word graphic in design somewhere. So Brandy McGee graphic design. All right, so that would be my recommendations. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. Thanks, Brandy.